Welcome to Amaneth Wellness Academy's Empowered Shift podcast, where transformation begins with one bold yes to you. I'm Amanda, your host, nurse, certified high-performance coach and nurse coach, who after 25 years of nursing and a lifetime of caring for others, has truly discovered what it means to no longer pour from an empty cup. Here in this podcast, you'll find real conversations grounded in strategies and soulful encouragement, where we explore mindset work, holistic wellness, and intentional living strategies to help you rise into your most balanced, vibrant, and empowered life. This is your place to pause, breathe, and reconnect with you. If you are done surviving and you are ready to thrive, you are in the right place. Hello, and welcome back to Amaneth Wellness Academy's podcast series, The Empowered Shift, episode number 5. Here in today's episode, we're going to walk through doubt and fear to learn how to take that next empowered action. And this is coming on the heels of last week's episode where we talked about self-sacrifice and self-care. And I think these are two concepts that we have to talk about together because they're really kind of interconnected. They're intertwined, and oftentimes one leads to another. There's also not another person on this earth who has not faced fear or self-doubt. It's how we respond to that that changes the outcome. But each and every one of us have fear and have self-doubt. So I want to first kind of bring that awareness that these aren't necessarily bad things, but when we don't learn how to take them captive, to really understand how they work and are wired to work for us, they oftentimes end up working against us. So for instance, self-doubt and fear, a huge part of that comes out of our protective mechanism, right? We have fear to keep us safe. Fear of driving too fast or weaving in and out of the traffic because that might cause an accident and either hurt us or someone else. Fear of heights or depths. Like I think of like my husband has a fear of like the ocean, like the open water, swimming in the open waters because I can't see. I don't know what's down there. And yeah, there could be some things that could harm you. Absolutely. If you're on heights, you can fall, right? So these fears are protective mechanisms. But when we learn how to take captive and harness them and work with the fear, then all of a sudden we can be safe, but we can still be moving forward. When we have doubt creeps in, have not learned how to fully believe into ourselves. That doubt creeps in of, can I do this? Am I smart enough? Who's going to listen to me? How can I learn that? I never went to college. I haven't ever done anything like that before. What makes me think I could do that now? Like these are all the doubts because we don't have proof. And when we don't have proof, it's hard to have confidence in that. So we have to learn how to harness that, how to harness the doubt and say, absolutely, haven't done this before. But I also am resourceful and know how to work through that doubt so that I can gain confidence in that I can work through that. So that comes through this radical awareness of knowing who we are, where we are, what we have done, but also what is possible when we look and see what we've been able to achieve in the past. When you think of some of the greats out there, did they have any reason to doubt themselves? Did they have any reason to have fear? Absolutely. When you think of, I think of Henry Ford, who had this vision of every family owning a car. And this is before cars were even out there or even anybody knew what a car was. See, there would be a lot of fear and a lot of doubt with that because it's never been done before. So there's no proof. But what he did know was that he had resources. He had an understanding and a knowledge. And even if he couldn't physically see it now, he could mentally see it and begin to create that. And that's how we begin to take this captive. So that's what I really want to dive into today is to understand where self-doubt and fear come from, how to take it captive, and then where to go from there. Because what I want you to know, right where you're listening to this right now, from the bottom of my heart, I want you to know that you are capable, that you are more than equipped, and that you have what it takes to do the things that are most important to you, to go for that job, to start that family, to build that career, to start that business. You have everything you need to do that. And I believe that you can. Do you believe that you can? And if you don't, that's okay. By the end of the podcast, you're going to learn how to begin to create that belief within yourself. Because it is possible. Self-doubt. Let's start with self-doubt. Self-doubt comes a lot from our past. past failures, comparison, comparing what we have now to what we perceive other people have around us now. And I say that because nowadays, in the age of AI and social media, like, you honestly don't know what you can and can't believe, because there's been so much artificial stuff put into the world, from us putting simple filters on how we take pictures so that we can look a certain way and present that on a social media post, to curating the most perfect life that we can put on social media, is that people think that's what we live every day. And the truth is, you live that 1% of the time. So comparison is the first thing that really allows doubt to creep in. Comparison is truly the thief of all joy. When we compare, we open the door and give space and room for doubt to come in. And when that's the type of doubt that comes in, and we continue to foster that through how many times we swipe through social media and see someone on there, to what we see around us, and we then look at our past failures and we look at where we are, that comparison allows that doubt to get so big in our minds that we stay right where we are and don't make a decision to move forward or go after or do those things. We doubt our abilities because I'm not that person. I don't come from that background. I don't have that education. I don't have that socioeconomic status. So I can't possibly do that. And when that's where we come from, we're going to stay stuck there. Self-doubt can rob you of all success. Self-doubt can rob you of all joy and fulfillment. But when you're able to look at it for what it is, for self-doubt, and to say, absolutely, I've never done this before. I've never started a business before. I've never even went to college for business. Or maybe it's, I've never built a house before. I've never fixed my car before. Whatever it is, you may have never done it before, but each circumstance you go through in life, you gain a new skill set, you gain a new knowledge, you gain your resourcefulness, that you know where to go for the answers. See, here's the thing. We have this perfectionist mindset where we think we have to know everything, and everything has to be absolutely perfect. As a nurse, I used to, when I would train new nurses, I would see this all the time. Like, they thought they had to have the answer for everything. And the truth is, that's flat out impossible. That's why we have specialties. Like, it is impossible for me as an ER nurse to know everything about hospice. It's impossible for me to know, as an adult ICU nurse, to know anything about a NICU pediatric ICU. They're two totally different worlds. Yet we have this expectation that because I'm a nurse, I should know all of this. And this translates in life, right? Like, I should know how to take care of my family. I should know how to raise kids. I should know how to take care of my house. But if you've never done that before, why should you know how to do that? Can you go and learn it? Absolutely. But we don't need to look down on ourselves or doubt our ability to learn it, because we don't happen to know it right now in this moment. I think back to when we opened up a coffee shop. So back in I think it was 2010, we had this dream. My husband and I had this dream for 10 years of opening a coffee shop. It was a small, like, bistro restaurant. And I was a nurse, and he had a degree in criminal justice and had worked in various jobs in the police, criminal justice, like, security realm. And who would have thought that we would come together and make a coffee shop? Like, there's no reason we could look back and say, there's no reason we should be able to do that. I mean, we love to drink coffee. And as a matter of fact, when we started our journey to opening our coffee shop, neither one of us had ever made a cup of coffee outside of our coffee pot at home. I didn't even know what the different recipes were. I didn't know the difference between a latte and a macchiato and a mocha. Like, I had no idea. Yet I realized 2 weeks before opening, I have no idea. But yet we're opening this restaurant, which was a beautiful restaurant that was a cafe where we served breakfast and lunch. We served beer and wine and coffee, and we're an elite coffee store, really, of the time. And I was like, I don't know. But now I'm stuck in the spot where, like, we've spent months renovating the building. We have to open the coffee shop. So I was like, I may not know now, but I know how to learn. And I went to a barista school, 3-day barista school, to learn it all. And it was actually quite simple once I learned it. You just have to learn the basis. So I look back, and then I remember, as we're walking through that journey, I remember talking with a dear friend of mine, and we sat there as the whole coffee shop was torn up because we had to renovate the building, because the building was a jewelry store before we opened up the coffee shop. So we had to do the floor. We had to put in all of the plumbing. We had to put in all of the appliances, all of the stuff. But before any of that was done, I remember looking at her, I was like, how is this going to turn into a coffee shop? And she looked at me and she was like, well, one step at a time. What do you have to do tomorrow? And I was like, well, tomorrow I have to finish the floor because right now we have big holes in the floor that you can see down to the dirt. So we can't do anything till that's done. She's like, okay, so do that. Then what's the next thing? And that's how we went through that. See, I could have listened to the doubt and the fear because everybody around me had a really loud voice to tell me all the reasons I should doubt or be fearful or that this wasn't going to work. Some of them out of wanting to protect me, but some of them out of also like, you've got to be nuts. Like, who do you think you are to do this? And what I can tell you is when we opened, within the first year, we became voted like the best coffee shop in town. And it's been open now. This is the 15th year it's been open. And it still gets rated as the number one place. And that only came not because I knew what I was doing or not because I was perfect at it. It happened because I knew my resources. I knew where to go and ask. When I didn't know how to do something, instead of being stuck in that fear, I was like, let me reach out and see what I can do. I didn't get stuck in the doubt. So I say that to show that we all have it and we all have a reason to have doubt. I want to make this very real. We all have a reason to have doubt and to have fear. We have fear to keep us safe. Like, gosh, if I go all in on this business, like how will we pay for our mortgage? How will I take care of my kids? How will I provide the resources that we need to be able to live off of? Those are big fears, but they're not so big that you can't figure out how to work through them. They are big fears that could stop you dead in your tracks and keep you from moving forward. But if your dream, if your vision, if your why was so much bigger than your fear, you would find a way to work through that fear, to bring to fruition that which is possible for you. See, doubt and fear can show up in many different ways, from the fear of the things like I just talked about, like financial failure. Oftentimes our fear comes out of a couple different areas. Fear of what it's going to cost me, meaning what am I going to have, when I say cost me, what am I going to have to do to make this happen? How am I going to have to change? It's that fear of change. How am I going to have to change in this process? Fear of not knowing the outcome. So I don't know if it will be successful. So why would I go and do this? I have no reason to believe that this will be successful. So why would I go and do that? Or just the fear of getting started. Like, I have no idea what to even do. Typically, our fears are based in one of those three main areas that keep us stuck where we are. And then as we start going through them, that doubt begins to creep in. Okay, so if I know that's my fear and I'm going to work through it, the doubt creeps in things like overthinking something. Like, I literally just have to pick the font for the menu. But I've spent a week on it because I just can't figure out which font to use. The doubt is showing up as overthinking. Make a choice and move on. And I don't say that flippantly. I know that can sound very flippant or light, but what I say is we get this mindset that the choice we make today is going to be a choice that is permanent, can never change, and will be there for the rest of our life. And that's really just not true. Like it becomes, when we can step back, I always say, step back and look at like the 30,000 foot view. It can almost become comical, because when you can step back and look at that, all of a sudden you realize like there never, ever, ever was a thing that was started where the end product was exactly the same as the starting product. So what I mean by that is we've never gone through renditions. Like, take a look at your iPhone or your computer, whatever that is. How many updates do you have to do? Like, I didn't purchase my computer 2 years ago and it's the same computer. As far as the internal drives go, right? Like, I don't know, I've gone through maybe an update every month for the last 2 years on my computer. That alone goes to show nothing's stuck in concrete. So if I don't like the font, okay, change the font the next time the menus are printed. That's okay. Probably nobody's even going to notice. If I make this choice and I don't like what's going on, well, you're not necessarily stuck with it. You can change that. If I don't like the menu, I don't like this drink, okay, we'll change the drink into what you want it to be. I mean, I'm using my restaurant as an example, but I want you to see that we get fixed in our minds that we have to have it perfect and that what we decide today will be what it's always been. And the truth is, it's not. That's not possible. It's going to go through rendition, just because even as we go through life, like, we grow and learn as people. So we are constantly evolving. So what I learned today and what I do today is going to be different. I mean, I've been a nurse for 25 years. How I started and what I did as a nurse 25 years ago is not the same that nurses are doing now. So why would I expect the same for me? Anything that I'm wanting to do or create, why would I expect that I have to be 100% perfect at it and it's going to be this way forever with what that choice is? The other way doubt and fear come in is through procrastination. Like you just don't make a decision. You just don't do something. You procrastinate putting something off. And that's usually a pretty big sign, a pretty big red flag that should be going off in the back of your head saying, why am I procrastinating? Am I procrastinating because I think I can't do this? Am I procrastinating because I'm afraid of what will happen or that I won't know how to complete this project or do this thing? So I'm just going to procrastinate. And here's the thing about procrastination. Usually when we're procrastinating on something, that thing that it is we have to do, we keep putting off and keep putting off. And the more we put it off, the more our minds have this bigger and more wild story of what it's going to take to complete it, how we're not equipped to be able to do that, and how hard this is going to be. I think about this in business as an entrepreneur and on a business journey of creating. There's so many things I don't know. There's so many things when I started 5 years ago, I had no clue. And if I let that stop me dead in my tracks, I wouldn't move anywhere. But if I tackle it head on, all of a sudden I realize it's actually not as big as my mind makes it. Like that fear, that doubt that comes in makes this some big, huge mountain we're going to have to learn and go through it. Pretty soon it's like, oh, it's 2 clicks. Make these 2 clicks and then you've got this created. So procrastination makes it bigger in your mind. And when it makes it bigger in your mind, you're less likely to be able to do something. You're less likely to complete that or do that because you think it's so big. I think of the times where I kept saying, oh, I'm not going to do this project. I mean, even like in college, think of the times where I'm not going to write this paper or I'm not going to do this assignment because I'm going to wait till the last minute. And then you have this big workup in your mind of how big this is going to be. And then you do it and you realize, well, that literally took me 30 minutes. It really wasn't that big of a deal. So procrastination can really rob you of your joy. Is really what procrastination does, because your mind is ruminating on the thing that needs to be done. You're not doing it for whatever reason, fear, doubt, or whatever's creeping in. You're not doing it. So your mind continues to focus on that, continues to have its energy expended on that one thing that you're not doing and all the reasons you shouldn't be doing it, that pretty soon, like, your joy is robbed. Because all you can think is all the reasons why you can't or why you shouldn't be doing something. So not only does it keep you stuck, it also robs you of the joy and the peace and the calm that can be if you just tackled it head on. And then it can be fear of judgment, which this is a huge one. Because as humans, we want to be liked. We want to be accepted. We want to fit in. Our most basic need is to be in community so that we are seen, heard, and felt. And if I'm going to do something, if I'm going to speak out against something, or if I'm going to try something new and it might not work, what are people going to say about me? Or if I'm going to change my career path, what's someone going to say about me? If I'm going to do this with my family, what if someone doesn't like that choice? That fear of judgment can be huge. That keeps us stuck right where we are. And then on the flip side of that, the other area that fear keeps us stuck where we are is the fear of success. And when I first learned this, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, who would be afraid of being successful? But the more you delve into it, the more actually it makes a whole lot of sense, especially if you are an entrepreneur and you're doing something brand new and different. What happens if you are successful? What happens if I go from making no money to making $10 million? What's going to be required of me? Am I going to have to give up my life? Am I going to have to give up my time? Am I going to have to give up my freedom? That's the fear of success. So let's just not do that because I'm not sure. So I'm just going to stay where I'm at. Fear of success. A lot of people are trusting me. A lot of people are looking to me. And what happens if I don't make the right answer? What happens if I say the wrong thing? So that fear of success, again, we let hold us captive, keep us comfortable where we are. That's how we see fear and doubt showing up in our lives. When you have this fear and doubt that's showing up in your life, what is that costing you? If I live my life in doubt or I live my life in fear, it's costing you something. Just as much as when I don't let fear or doubt hold me captive, that's going to cost me something too. We have the opportunity to choose which way are we going to allow to be charged in life. Meaning, if I am stuck in doubt and self-fear, that leaves me in my current situation. I'm not growing. I'm not changing. I'm not advancing. I'm not expanding who I am as a person. So that means my relationships stay the same. My position at work stays the same. My income stays the same. Like all of these things stay the same because I'm letting doubt and fear hold me where I'm at. And then my joy, my fulfillment, my confidence is being robbed, is being taken from me because I'm allowing that fear and doubt to take that away from me. What am I getting? I'm getting comfort. I know what's required of me every single day. I know when I get out of bed, these are the things that I have to do, the choices I have to make. Like there's something to be said for living in that comfort. But if we live in comfort our whole lives, there's so much in the rest of the world and the rest of our lives and relationships that we're missing out on. So much more that can be brought in. So much more you can experience. The depth of your relationships, the depth of your marriage, of your relationship with your kids, of your relationship with your family and friends, if you were willing to work through the doubt and the fear that's there. You also can miss a whole lot of opportunities, whether advancement in relationships or business or career or education, because you don't think that that's possible for you. That doubt and that fear are holding you there. So you miss the opportunity for that promotion. You miss the opportunity to hang out with those friends and to go and experience some magical event or some magical time or really have a bond with your friends because of the doubt. I see this a lot in relationships where I'm not sure, I'm afraid of what they're going to think of me, so I'm not going to put myself out there for that friendship. And you miss out on what can be an amazing friendship and gift into your life by staying stuck in that fear and that doubt. Doubt and fear, like I said in the beginning, they're normal. They're going to be there. The goal in this conversation isn't to eliminate the fear and the doubt. It's how to learn to work with the fear and the doubt, because I think that can be one of your greatest assets. When you can name your fear and you can name your doubt, you know exactly how to go after it and how to not let it take you captive, but you take it captive. An example of this, I had moved to where I am now, to Texas. I'd been here a couple years and I had been in one position and I was changing to another. I was doing something drastically different. And I am very much an introverted person and not somebody that steps out and openly engages in conversation, not because I don't want to or I think I'm too good, but actually this is a perfect example of where I let fear and doubt hold me back. And I'm just as happy to be that wallflower and listen to conversations, but I don't have friendships when that's what happens. So when I was starting this new job, I said to myself, you can't be that wallflower. Today, when you go in, you're going to meet at least 2 people in orientation and you're going to connect with them and have lunch with them and see where it goes from there. You have to be the first to engage in conversation. This was a conversation I had with myself before I went into the job. So I went in and sat down at the table. It was this big boardroom, this big table, sat down, and there was a person sitting directly across from me. And I intentionally sat down, looked that person in the eye and said, "Hi, I am Amanda." That person introduced themselves back to me and we had a conversation, and I normally would let it end right there. But I kept asking her questions. And so this conversation built. And so orientation starts and we go through orientation. And then I say, "Hey, would you like to have lunch together?" And so we had lunch together. And I had to keep pushing myself to do this. And then pretty soon, by the end of that day and then the next day, we connected. And here we are 5 years later, and she's become one of my dearest friends. Now, did I have fear and doubt when I started the conversation? Absolutely. But the only way to overcome that fear and doubt was to try. I had no idea what would happen. I had no proof that this would work, but I had to try it. So first, it's to be aware and to understand that fear or that doubt that you're having. Then it's to really ask yourself and understand, is this true? Is this what brings forth that most empowered, that best version of me? And what would happen if I did something different? What would happen if I didn't believe that and I went after this? What would change for me? So to really assess that, because sometimes it could be that the fear is absolutely true and that's what we need to hold us there. But I would venture to say more times than not, more than 90% of the time, if you worked through the fear, what's on the other side of that fear or that doubt is so much more than you can imagine in that moment. And then how do you work through this? So now you have become aware of your fear and doubt. assessed it to see if it's really true. Like, is this really going to keep me safe and keep me from dying, meaning getting in some car accident or jumping off a cliff or something like that? Or is this just keeping me complacent and comfortable? Then what do you do? Once you've recognized that, you've assessed it and understand it, now you just take one small action step. Just like my friend said with the coffee shop. Well, what's the next step? What's that next right action step that you need to take that's going to move you forward? Oh, well, I need to do the floor. Okay, well, don't think beyond that. Don't think 10 steps down the road. Think about the floor. Like, do the floor and then do the next thing. Have the conversation. Have the hello, how are you? That cordial conversation. Apply for that class. Build that business. Build that business by saying, this is what I do. Maybe it's to take out papers for my LLC today. Maybe it's to tell a friend, this is what I'm doing. Like, one action step at a time. Don't think too far ahead because the fear's only going to get bigger. The doubt's only going to get bigger. You just need to focus on the next right action step of integrity. The next right action step that's going to move you forward. And then as you take that step, you assess it. And then you also connect back to your why. So I assess how that step went and did it work? Did it not work? And why is this important? Why is this step important to my overall dream of why I want to do this? Why I want to start a coffee shop? Because I want to connect with people and bring the joy of coffee and food into those and have a safe place for people to come and be who they are. Okay, well, then I do need to do the floor. Okay, I need to put in a bar where I can have people sit and converse with them. Yeah, that adds to that value. Well, I need to have a comfortable seating space. Yeah, that adds to my dream. So every decision, anchor back to your why and connect. And that's what helps you get through the greatest fear. When you can anchor what you're doing back to your why. And when I say anchor that, like really tie it back to your why. Why am I doing this? This is a big, scary step. Why am I having this conversation? Why did I reach out and tell this person I would go speak on their stage? Why did I believe that I could care for this person or coach this person? Why did I believe that I could have that position? Yeah, because that moves my mission and my purpose that I have in life forward. And I may not have everything I need right now, but I know that I have everything to begin. And I just need to take that beginning step so that I can move forward in that. And then as you do it, look back and celebrate. Look back and say, oh, look, we have an amazing floor in the coffee shop. Look, I have an amazing connection with a wonderful friend. I have my LLC paperwork. I have a business. I have an interview set up for my dream job because you took that action, and celebrate it. The other thing, when it comes to working through our fears and our doubts, when we take a step, it must be celebrated because the way our minds are wired is what we focus on grows, which is to say what we choose to focus on, what we appreciate is what's going to grow. So if I took that step and I got that interview, celebrate that. And then your mind's like, yeah, see, look, I stepped out and I had that conversation and I now have that interview. Now you're going to walk into the interview and be like, yeah, look at this. I went through this whole process and now I got this interview. Like, yes, I'm the right person for the job. I may not know everything about the job, but I can find it out. I can figure it out. I know that this is for me. I know that opening a coffee shop is for me. So I need to find a menu. I need to find seating. I can do that. I need to figure out how to run a cash register. I can do that. Do I know how to do it right now? No, but I can figure it out. And look, I did the floor. Look, we built the bar, like with our own two hands. Like, look, we've put the menu on the wall. Like, these things need to be celebrated so that the day we open, it's an amazing coffee shop. And also, when you celebrate what you've done, it makes the next action step not so scary because you have proof that when you show up and you count on you, you rise to the occasion. That's ultimately how you work through your fear and your doubt, is one step at a time, assessing the situation, taking one step at a time, celebrating that step, and then looking back and saying, look at what I did. Look at what I worked through. Look at what everyone else said, but here's what I did and how amazing that is. That is how you work through so fear and doubt don't keep you stuck where you are. Because as I started this episode, you are meant for greatness. There is greatness in you. Are you willing to choose that different path, that path of discovery, which will have fear and doubt in it? Or are you going to choose the path of comfort, of playing small, of staying where you are? Both are available to you. It's your choice to be able to do that. If you want more support with this, if you're saying, yes, that's me. Yes, I know I'm meant for more, but I have no idea what that looks like. I have no idea where to go with that. That's exactly what I do in my business. I help people bring life to their dreams, to create their most vibrant and fulfilling lives, whatever that is. From starting a business, to taking radical control of your health, to building your relationships and everything in between. If that's something that you're sitting here saying, yes, that's me. I have been stuck in doubt and fear for way too long. I have let that hold me stagnant and no more. I am ready to move beyond that. Then let's go. Let's have a conversation. You can find me at Nurse Coach Gal on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. I'll put a link in the show notes. I coach people one-on-one in this space to bring forth your most vibrant life. And I've seen it over and over and over again. I know that it's possible for you. And I know that we can do that, even if right now it seems so far off. So if that's you, just message me. Let's have a conversation to even see if this is the right thing for you. A simple conversation and go from there. As with each and every day, you have a choice. You have a choice to show up and be ordinary, or you have a choice to show up and be empowered and create that shift in extraordinary life. Choose to be extraordinary today. Have a blessed day.